Hey, it's Andrew Rusnak, founder of Charlotte Content Marketing, and welcome to the Charlotte Content Marketing Podcast. I know that I said that I was going to get back into the swing of things here, but this is kind of a do as I say and not as I do situation. Not kept up my end of the bargain, and for that I apologize. But going forward, we're going to try to be more consistent with this stuff. So today what I want to talk about is ethics in marketing and ethics more specifically in content marketing, and what are some ethical conundrums or pitfalls to watch out for, and some things to think about, some of the things that we take into consideration here at Charlotte Content Marketing. So before we get into all that, what is marketing? So let's define marketing first. One of the most succinct ways that I've ever heard it put, the difference between sales and marketing is that sales is going to tell you that the new BMW does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds or something. And I have no idea whether that's realistic or not. I don't keep up with cars or anything like that, so I'm just making numbers up. But so I don't want you to thinking like, what is he talking about? That's crazy, or that's not crazy. But so the new BMW does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And that's sales is telling you that. So they're putting together the ad that tells you that. Marketing is telling you why you want to go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And so that's where you're going to have the images or the video or the write-up talking about the wind in your hair, not me obviously, but the wind in your hair, driving on a mountain side road, beach cliffside road, speeding around corners and stuff like that, feeling free and all that stuff. So that's the marketing aspect of it. So that's what marketing is. Marketing is selling the experience. And so that's one of the things that we always talk about with our clients is we're not here to tell people what your product or service does, what your brand does. We're talking about what is the experience of your brand? What is the experience of working with your brand? So just to clarify what marketing is, particularly as opposed to sales. So when it comes to ethics in marketing, one of the biggest gray areas or where the line gets kind of blurry is when it comes to omission. So our job as marketers is to accentuate and to highlight the good features of a product or service or a brand. But then what if there are negative features or potentially negative features? Do we need to call those out as well? And this is where it kind of becomes an ethical conundrum. And we take this on a case-by-case basis. There's no easy answer. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. When it comes to omission, you've all heard of lying by omission, which is where you didn't outright say the lie, but you also didn't tell the whole truth, so therefore you are technically lying. And so once again, this is where it's kind of a blurry line, and it is something that we have to take into consideration as well, because there are a lot of problems that can come into play, and we'll talk about these in just a second, but there are a lot of problems that can come into play when you're not ethical in your marketing, and we certainly want to avoid those for our clients, and we want to avoid those for ourselves, because at the end of the day, this is our reputation, my company's reputation, and my personal reputation and my professional reputation on the line as well. So I typically draw the line when it comes to omitting certain things, because we don't always have to highlight everything about a product or service. We don't want to highlight or accentuate the negatives. We don't want to associate a product or service or brand with negativity. We don't want to outright lie either. So I draw the line if it comes down to this is something that's going to hurt someone, or it's going to cause a major life issue for someone. If it's a situation like that, like if it's a medical thing, and I know, from speaking with the client that, there's a major potential for this product to cause great bodily harm, and we're not disclosing that. That's an ethical issue, and that's a line that I can't cross right there, personally and professionally, and I wouldn't allow my agency to cross that line either. But if it's something where some people have said that a certain product didn't live up to their expectations, they had a negative experience with it, and that's their personal opinion, or even if that's a prevailing opinion, then we don't need to highlight that. And we're not going to highlight that. We're going to talk about the good things and the positive reviews, because we don't need to highlight any of that negative stuff, particularly if it's coming from an opinion-based place. If it's coming from someone's subjective opinion and this is not an objective fact, then we don't need to highlight that kind of stuff. But so this leads me back to what I was just saying about the ramifications of unethical behavior in marketing and what that can lead to. And this is something that we particularly pay attention to when it comes to our legal clients and our healthcare clients, because there are legal and regulatory compliance issues that we have to pay attention to when it comes to stuff like that. So just as an example, we cannot say that one attorney can deliver better outcomes than another, or we cannot guarantee outcomes or anything like that. So whether we're writing up content, whether we're working on putting together video content or even a podcast or anything like that, we have to abide by those guidelines from an ethical point of view, but then also from a legal and regulatory standpoint as well. Same thing with medical. We can't make healthcare claims that are not true or that are not based in scientific fact, and we can't make claims where there's no way to back up the claim that we're making. And the same thing is true when it comes to product liability issues. This is another one where, if it's an issue that is based in reality and there is a very real danger to someone's health or to the general public because a product can catch on fire or explode, or if conversely, if we say, oh, this is the safest product on the planet and we know that it's not, that's just one of those lines that we can't cross, and that's where omission becomes dangerous. And privacy is another ethical concern, particularly when you're working with customer data. So like if we're doing email marketing and we have a list of a client's customer base and we have hundreds or thousands of email addresses with phone numbers and stuff like that, we have to make sure that that data is protected, and then we also have to make sure that that data is treated in the way that the customer has given permission for the data to be used. So if they have signed up to receive a certain segment of marketing emails but not another, we have to abide by that. And that's, once again, an ethical and a legal concern that we have to factor into things. Really, at the end of the day, it comes down to, at least from our standpoint, we have to work in our client's best interest. So I guess we're sort of a marketing fiduciary in that sense. So we have to abide by that. We have to work in our client's best interest, but then we also have to take it a step further and work in our client's customers' best interest as well. But if you're doing your own marketing, if you're approaching your own marketing and content strategy and things like that, then obviously your customer's best interest needs to come first. Lastly, I just want to point one other thing out. So with so-called black hat techniques in marketing, and so the internet has been a double-edged sword in the sense that it has opened up so many opportunities for business owners to explore new opportunities and grow their businesses and reach new customers all around the world, and that's been amazing. But at the same time, there's always new ways to manipulate and exploit search engine results. Plenty of people out there try to take advantage of that, and those that gets into what's, again, it's referred to as black hat search engine optimization, SEO. So black hat techniques, black hat SEO, but then just unethical marketing practices in general, some of which we covered, and it would take too long to go into everything. But I would just advise you to take the ethical route. A lot of the black hat stuff, it may work faster, but it's not going to produce lasting results. And so a lot of these people who get involved in this kind of stuff, it's sort of like a con man, a traveling con man, where he's just always going from town to town to town, and he's pulling these cons and stuff like that, and then he's got to get out of town and go to the next one. You're not going to build a business off of that, and you're forever going to be looking over your shoulder and trying to keep straight all of the black hat stuff and all the lies and all the various accounts and all the things that you've said here, there, and everywhere, and that just becomes impossible to manage, and you're never going to be able to build a long-term reputation or customer base off of that. So I would advise sticking to just traditional white hat, honest, ethical, and legal marketing practices. So if you have any questions for us at Charlotte Content Marketing, or if you're concerned about a marketing practice that maybe you've been involved with or that has been set up for you and you have some questions about it, we'd love to help you out. You can email us at hello@charlottecontentmarketing.com. You can also give us a call at 704-323-6762. You can find us on socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, obviously here on YouTube, also Spotify and Apple Podcasts and anywhere else that you get your podcasts. So thank you again for tuning in. And my advice to you is to keep everything above board. You'll be better positioned for long-term success. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode.